So I asked for HD questions for you when you were on Techzilla earlier this week.
Yes.
We got a dog pile of questions on Twitter, more than we could answer there. So let's hammer on some more of these speed round questions left over from Techzilla. We got a bunch of them up on Techzilla too, including Mr. Heron's true prediction on the future of 3D HD. You ready?
Okay.
Frozen Summers asks, what's the best 32 to 40 inch TV if I don't want or care for 3D? Mostly, he wants to play Xbox 360.
Totally. I would stick with the major brands. If you're looking for the best, I would hopefully go for a 1080p resolution just so you know you're not going to have any weird issues with scaling high-def pictures. 1080p usually ensures you can do a one-to-one pixel mapping with high-def sources, so you get the best detail possible. LCDs, too, for game consoles, I'd really look toward the 120 hertz designs. In that size range, there should be a few available. I would keep that. And some of the major brands are always the ones I kind of turn to first. Sony, Toshiba, LG, and I'll throw Samsung in there too.
Vizio should be cheap too.
Vizio for good value and good performance also. And you know what? They have some new thin designs that I think look really sharp. LED backlit, or edge lit I should say, and some new integrated Bluetooth features as well for some of the new remote controls. I don't know if that's in the smaller sizes yet, but always a good value there.
Chris Batista asks, for my bedroom, what's the biggest and best HDTV I could get for $300? He wants 1080p console gaming and home theater PC DVR inputs.
Holy crap! I would go on $300 is just too, I don't know.
Sorry.
Used?
Craigslist?
Craigslist. There you go. Craigslist or
save for a few more months.
Man, yeah. You could probably get something small. That's like computer monitor size TV. Really?
What about a 24-inch?
Okay.
Probably a 24-inch flat
Something
panel
small.
from Dell or the Dell outlet.
I would
That's
look
like
there.
$250.
Maybe they have a refurbished on the refurbished section
Yeah.
too. You might be able to find something in that price range. But that's getting into the screen sizes where, man, I'm more thinking of something for my computer rather than something for the living room. But
$500 seems to be about the bottom for something bigger than 32
solid
inches.
32-inch designs out there. You might even be able to get up into 40 inches if you really hunt around.
Or buy somebody else's old one. Quux55, when will 50-inch LCDs be in the $600 range?
Not much longer.
Oh, really?
Say 52-inch screens. You're not going to see the 55-inch screens in that range, at least right away. But we were just comparing, say, 40 to 42-inch screens, and I was surprised that there are lots of options in the $800 range. So I'm going to say maybe 2 more years, we'll get that 50-inch size down into that $800 range, at least for some of the parts, or $600 range for some screens. Now, you're always going to have premium models that offer more advanced features like your 3D TVs and the internet-enabled TVs that will always add a premium to whatever price you're looking at. It's always the feature set. More stuff you pack into it, the more they're going to charge you for.
Speaking of which, Cirrus Crown says, any reasons to update your HDTV that is 3 years old to a new set?
I was looking at an old rear projection TV the other day, and I would say that was a good candidate for replacement, but it was more than 3 years old. It was probably pushing 10, I would say.
Would you do it for the internet features? Would you do it for the quality of the glass and the image display? Would you do it for better 1080p support and scaling?
The last two in particular, I would really want a flat panel because every rear projection TV scales the picture off the edge of the screen in order to hide. Basically, you're projecting that image from behind, and on the edges, they can be a little bit curved, a little bit warped, so they tend to they overscan that image off the edge of the picture that you can actually see, and you waste detail, you waste pixels that could be put to use. Now, on the 1080p panels we look at nowadays, you can map that one-to-one and have that excellent detail, get all of those pixels back, and basically give yourself better image quality. Also, some of the new sets will even consume less power nowadays, too, although rear projection TVs tend to be pretty energy efficient. That might be another reason. Maybe that set is put a power meter on that thing and see what it's consuming. That could be a good reason to drive you to it. Or if you're about to drop, say, another $250 to $300 on a new bulb for that TV, unless it's an old CRT rear projection type, maybe that's money you don't want to spend, and that could go into the new TV fund. So kind of balance all those things out. When's it time to give it away to a friend?
Kelly Hansen asks, where do I shop for the best deals on a 42-inch or bigger 1080p TV?
Online. Always go online, just to get an idea of what the low prices are. Always factor in shipping if you're going to have it shipped. And don't be afraid to have a TV shipped to your house. That TV was shipped to wherever you're going to buy it from. There's no reason
it was shipped from overseas.
And it will still be in the factory original box, which generally protects them really well. So I always go online first, and then I compare those prices to what I can get for locally.
Yeah, Costco is good if you need instant gratification.
Love browsing in Costco.
At El Bhutan, are there any home theater audio systems that I can hook up to my PC for audio as well? I'd prefer a bundle without a DVD Blu-ray player thing.
You mean like a
home
AV
theater
receiver?
in a box?
Sure. Oh, definitely that. Or you can even take whatever AVR you have and run a digital out from your computer. Either the newer video cards all feature HDMI output for audio and video in one cable, or most motherboards nowadays provide digital audio output, either coaxial or optical. and you can run that into any kind of AVR.
Yeah, as far as your home theater, as far as your receiver in your home theater is concerned, it doesn't care if the input is coming from a Roku box or a Blu-ray player or your PC, as long as you basically have it's a SPID. If it's an optical output, it's generic. It is it's open. It's free.
Then it gives you a chance to go into your PC audio settings and make sure that you enable multi-channel support and all that good stuff too.
Jeff Douglas says, I've got a 55-inch Samsung LED. What does automotion plus 120 hertz do?
That's the switch for interpolation versus frame repeat. That's if you want it to look smooth no matter what. That camcorder look, you would crank that up to high. And if you didn't want that look, you just wanted to say, you know what, take whatever frame rate that video is and just repeat it to match the TV's refresh rate, then you would turn that off. Patrick likes that off.
For movies.
That's
for
right.
movies. I'm letting it grow on me. For video games, I would definitely...
If there's any doubt at all, just turn it off, and it doesn't. You're still going to get full performance out of the TV. If it's 120 hertz panel, it doesn't suddenly.
XKCD cartoon.
There you go. It's like, but for things like sports, you probably won't notice a difference. Maybe for late night TV, because most of that's shot in 1080i.
Oh, really?
That could change the way it looks a little bit. I'm trying to remember if they normally shoot in 24 frame or is it 60 frame for the 1080i broadcast at night. But
one more thing to add to my harmony when after midnight turn this to, that's a scary thought.
Totally.
Len Paris says, I would like to know how to calibrate my HDTV. Mr. Heron, would you recommend a book and software to do this? Munsell?
I'd say the Spears and
Joe
Munsell
Kane?
disc is one I like. I don't know how well documented that is. If you really don't know what you're doing, I'd say Joe Kane's HD Basics disc has a lot of info on there, but if you follow along the guides that it provides, you should be able to figure it out pretty good. There's not a lot to really tweak on these TVs that you can do by eye. So doing it by eye and doing it yourself is pretty straightforward, and it shouldn't be too confusing. I would also say that if you have one of the new LG TVs, they have that built-in Picture Wizard functionality. That's essentially what you would buy on a disc, but it's just built into the TV, and you can literally on-screen guide right through that. So do check what features your TV has. Sometimes certain TVs require, or certain test patterns require that you use a filter glass, like a blue filter, to look at a pattern. Some TVs, like even the one behind us, have a blue mode. That will just, hey, why use a piece of filter glass when you can have the TV just filter out the other stuff and show you that blue only signal. We should probably do a quick segment one of these days about calibration, basic calibration.
Maybe next week.
We'll get that done.
One last question. Daryl Girk, what do you think of Screenboo these days? It wasn't mentioned in the Projector Screen show. That was basically, if you're not familiar with Screenboo, it's special paint designed to give you the best, or what they consider the best home or projector performance by
I love it personally. I think it's
rolling
great.
it up on a wall.
I've used it. I think it's a good product. It really depends what you're trying to do. I liked it because, you know what, they had already thought out a lot of stuff. Here's a primer that we suggest you put on first, and here's like a digital gray, a slightly more gray or slightly more white paint, depending on what kind of room it is, what kind of projector you're using, that kind of stuff. I had no problems with the product, but I would also be just as tempted to shoot it with, titanium dioxide white.
Right.
Cheap 1 gallon bucket of paint, and if I need to touch that up when somebody puts their hand on it, it doesn't cost much to do that. It's more about just consistent application. Whatever product you use that's paint-based, it's getting it on whatever surface you're going to put it on, consistent and even, so that you don't have very light paint on one section, very dark on the other, or any kind of, the typical hazards with painting yourself. So if you're good with a brush or a roller or spraying,
Use a roller.
Yeah, rollers or spraying, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.